Pretty much a pain in the ass doing all this by yourself, but can be done. So, temporarily attached here, just so I can get this together, and then now I can do a transmission brace. But I didn't want this just a flopping. So I put some bolts in there just to get the rig together, and now shouldn't go anywhere. I can take these bolts out, and then because I think all of them get replaced. And it's been a couple of years since I did mine, but I think all of them get replaced anyway. So fitting to do that right now. So some of your issues with these Corvettes is the way that they're mounted in. You got your front cradle, your rear cradle, torque tube, all that. So what you're looking at, joint, 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 right? So these are all places where if this thing gets into going into wheel hop or something, all the shit moves, right? So you see a lot of cars with power, they'll go into wheel spin, and then like a wheel hop starts to gain traction, and you'll get into a wheel hop, and that throws a nasty driveline vibration. And I really don't know on the automatic cars, but on the manual cars, this is the weak spot where the output shaft of the transmission goes into the diff. This diff will get to hopping around, starts doing some funky shit on that output shaft, right? You start putting some torsion on the output shaft, and it just destroys everything in here. One of the things you can do is transmission and diff brace. So your transmission brace is gonna go, like I said before, it's gonna mount to the sides. Those two big plates, those C plates, are gonna mount to the sides of the diff. So the C plates are going to mount to the diff, and then you got connecting rods that come to brackets up here, and they're heimed. And that is gonna, if you think of like what a good knee brace does, right? Your joint is weak, and you attach a knee brace, and it attaches to your thigh, and attaches to your calf, right? And it kind of spreads the load over the two muscles and takes it easy on the joint. That's what you're doing, right? You're stiffening up here and here, and kind of taking it easy on this joint. Your diff brace, where is, anyway, your diff sits on this really soft mount with a single connection point right here. So basically, because Corvettes, when they come off the factory, are old people cars, right? And they want to soften up as much of the driveline as they can. So you're not having cabin vibrations, driveline vibrations, giving shit for old people to bitch about, right? So this is nice and soft. I can't do it one-handed. But anyway, you start putting some power and driving like these cars should be driven, your diff has the weeble wobble inside the cradle. The cradle's fixed to the frame, right? So you get to getting after it, and this will rack around. Now, if this is doing this because of horsepower, and then you start wheel hopping and shit starts going left, right, up, down, front, back. So the differential brace over there is going to replace your diff mount, and it's going to spread the load out. It's got those two pads. Is that making sense to you? And we got nice polyurethane bushings. So just take the slop out. You're gonna add driveline vibration and all that shit, maybe a little bit of harmonics. Whatever, man. You're making enough power, you're shitting giggles. Turn the radio up. You see what that's doing? That's spreading that load out. That's keeping the differential from wanting to rack around with your torque. It's also gonna keep everything else in line. So, a little bit of Corvette science. These $300 ballpark, I believe. I mean, you can get some, I think, I don't know how to say it, Pat, P-F, Pavabat, I don't know. They make some high-end shit. There's a couple places. This was sourced from Brian over at FI Performance. I think there's a couple of FI Performance, but this dude is Corvettes and GM shit up in New Jersey, Brian Rosenberg. And this come from East Coast Supercharging. So, should be simple enough to do. It says, visit the website for installation instructions. The only thing they have is for the manual transmissions. So if you're dealing with a manual, that's what it looks like on a manual, right? And we're pretty much gonna be doing the same thing, but we don't have these lower sections because you got, on the automatic, you got the pan, you know what I mean? So we're basically gonna put the C plates on. You got a crossbar up there just to strengthen up the C plates a little bit, and then your adjustable whatever the fuck those are called. So, no instructions, but whatever, a couple pictures, a little common sense. Should do pretty good. So, these are obviously gonna be for these going into the torque tube side. These are gonna be for the C plates going into the diff. And these are gonna be through bolts to go through the heims through here. And then these two coarse thread jams will be for this crossbar that connects two C plates, right? Right. And then this is pretty simple. Take the other, gonna have to separate the diff from the cradle, get you some room. This replaces the mount through the cradle. This goes on to that. Really don't know what these are for. I guess I'll figure it out once it's up in there. And then a through bolt. I don't know what these are for. The one I did on my car, I'll just touch on this real quick. This is some kind of vibration dampener. So I guess in the earlier models or in testing or whatever, they came up with some kind of driveline vibration harmonic. So they put this damper on here, and it's just a rubber, actually I think that's metal, but you know. And this has something to do with vibration and whatever. Oh, those two bolts go through here on the bracket. That makes sense. I think mine was a little different, but anywho. I think you can either cut some of this off, or I'm probably just gonna leave it off. But this is probably gonna interfere with that. Well, now that I'm looking at it, it might not. This one looks a little different than the one I had. So it actually might clear down here. I think mine was more broad, but this one looks, kind of sucks. This thing's so beat up. This is out of the box. I didn't do any of that shit. That's out of the box. So, whatever. Maybe he bought this on a scratch and dent. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna shut the hell up, get to work. Alrighty, got this trans brace on. So, cool. Even with lack of instructions, not hard to do. A little bit of common sense, you know. So now I'm going to, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I'm probably going to push all this forward so I can use the lift arms and then just ratchet strap the diff up enough so I can put that brace in there. Because I don't feel like I put the cherry picker away already. I don't feel like pulling that back out. So yeah, I just need a little bit of separation. Oh shit. Yep. I could probably do this in the car. Dang. I'll figure something out real quick. Well, problem solved. So moved it up here. Used, sure it's in the book, don't do it, but used the lift and some heavy cargo straps. Lifted this up, got the cradle off. I've already set it back, so whatever. But I got the cradle lifted off so I could access the bolts underneath. So you just need to separate and put the two pieces together, get it in there. You gotta have a lot of separation. These bolts stay in the bridge. Okay, gravity. They go through here into the diff, you can see. So you'll need a little bit of separation, and then you can see on this dampener. So it's just two chunks of aluminum sandwiched on a rubber mount. You gotta grind it down to where it clears that and doesn't hit. I'm not exactly sure what this is for. I do remember years ago, I had the Rick Wells style, which I believe came way up here. And asking around like Facebook groups or whatever, somebody says like a harmonic dampener for the gears, like the way the pinion is, create some harmonics back here, and this was the factory solution. Some guys took it off. On my C5 I took it off, but I never got to drive it. I never finished the project, so I'm not sure. I don't know. But on this one, I shaved it down, clears the diff brace, and we're in there solid. So everything's connected. We're ready to drop it in. I couldn't get the exhaust pipe out before, so which doesn't make sense to me. There's no way they dropped the cradle to get the exhaust in, but for right now, whatever. This is gonna set up here and then we'll sandwich it together. I do have my fittings in for the transmission cooler reroute, so I'm gonna take care of that. And then, yeah, we should be, I hate saying should, but everything's looking good to get it put back in its hole. So we got some other quick stuff to take care of on the other project. And then because we're still waiting on some parts on this, we got a radiator we're waiting on, and a couple other fittings. When those come in, we'll go back on this, but it's looking like pretty close.